Hello, football fans. Well, week 15 is upon us. We are down to the final 4 weeks of the regular season. And of course, we're in the heart of the month of December, which is that part where things start to really pick up a bit. It's also the last week before the holidays start. So well, I hope you got your Christmas shopping done. There's still a little bit of time, left. But anyway, so let's get the scenario. Let's get started with the scenarios for this week first. Let me lay out the picture entering the final 4 weeks of the season. First off, in the AFC, the Bills and Chiefs remain tied, just like last week, for the top spot. But of course, Buffalo has head-to-head. The Ravens right behind them at the third spot. They're in first place in AFC North due to head-to-head over the Bengals. They have the same record, 9-4. Tennessee holds the number 4 spot at 7-6, and it looks like that's what it's going to be. The AFC South, much like the NFC South, is going to have that one playoff spot, and it looks like they're going to be the 4 seed. Of course, Cincinnati is down to the wild card standings at 9-4. The Miami Dolphins dropped to 8-5 with their loss to the Chargers. And in the seventh spot, the last playoff spot, it's the Patriots. The Patriots are above that line. It's a three-way tie at 7-6 between the Patriots, Chargers, and Jets, but the Patriots hold the tiebreakers. Conference record over the Chargers, and division record, as well as head-to-head at the moment over the Jets for New England. The Jaguars are behind those 7-16s at 5-8, though one of those 7-16s are behind the Tennessee Titans, which means they have a bit of an outside shot at the division. The Raiders, Browns, and Steelers are also 5-8. Their playoff hopes aren't as good of a shape as the Jaguars are. As a matter of fact, all three of them could be eliminated this upcoming week. As as will along with the Indianapolis Colts, who are down to 4-8-1. So those four could be eliminated this week. Mm-hmm. The numbers are going to get thinned out pretty quickly. In the NFC, the Eagles, who locked in the playoff spot last week, stand at 12-1. The Vikings dropped to 10-3, 2 games behind the Eagles, 3 if you count the head-to-head. The surging Niners, are 9-4 and are third in the conference, and Tampa Bay leads the NFC South at 6-7. Yeah, it's either 4 seed or a good draft pick for the NFC South. As for the wild card positions, excuse me. As for the wild card positions, Dallas holds the top wild card spot position at 10-3, and the other two spots are occupied by the Washington Commanders and the New York Giants, who are both tied at 7-5-1. Of course, the first meeting of the season was the tie. So the division record puts Washington over the Giants. Washington won a divisional game. The Giants haven't yet. The Seahawks, who are still kind of in a slump, they've dropped below the playoff line at 7-6, but they're not too far behind it. You know who else isn't too far behind the playoff line? The Detroit Lions. The Lions, who have been on a roll since the month of November started, are 6-7. The Packers, my poor boys, are 5-8 and still have a slight shot. The Panthers and Falcons are also 5-8. Their shot is immense because the division they're in is terrible. Of course, Cardinals, Saints, and Rams are pretty much screwed. Um, the 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 Cardinals, Saints, and Rams can all be eliminated this week. The Packers cannot, and of course, Carolina and the Falcons, they'll still be alive for at least another 2 weeks because the division is just awful. So, yeah, at the moment, the Bears are the only team in the NFC who are officially eliminated. In the AFC, it's the Broncos and Texans who are eliminated. Okay, so that's the playoff picture. Okay, now for the scenarios. Of course, last week the Eagles locked in the playoff spot with their win over the Giants. They were the only they were one of 3 teams who could have clinched the spot last week, but they were the only ones to clinch. So one spot is locked in. There's 6 left. There's 6 left in the NFC, and there's still the 7 AFC spots, leaving 13 in all. In Week 15, like I said, this is around that time when more and more teams could have a chance to clinch things. In Week 15, 5 teams could clinch playoff spots, and 2 divisions could be wrapped up. First, let's start with the AFC. First off, Buffalo. That's right. The Bills got their win last week, which means they have earned the right to clinch a spot in this year's NFL playoffs. And they have a simple scenario: win it in. That's right. That's right. All the Bills have to do is win their game against the Dolphins on Saturday, and they're in the postseason. Now, there's 3 ways they can get in that involve them tying. If they tie, either the Chargers have to lose, or the Patriots and Jets both have to lose, or the Chargers and Patriots both tie and the Jets have to lose. Either of those ways gets the Buffalo Bills in the postseason. Now the Bills, like I said, they host Miami. That's part of the Saturday tripleheader on Week 15. So they should take care of it. They shouldn't need any outside help. But if they do, they'll have to wait another day. But they should take care of it Saturday. Kansas City actually had the chance to clinch the AFC West last week. They won their game. Well, they survived it. They won their game, but the Chargers also won theirs, so they had to wait until this week. They could actually clinch a spot in the playoffs. There's 3 ways they can get in, and all of them involve Kansas City tying. A tie, a Jets loss, the Patriots loss. Or a tie, a Jets loss, a Patriots tie, and a Dolphins loss. Or a tie, a Jets tie, and losses from New England and Miami. Either of those ways get in. If the Chiefs win, not only do they make the playoffs, but they will do so as AFC West champions for the 7th year in a row. That's it. All they have to do is win. They win the division. Or if they tie and the Chargers tie, that'll do it. Or if the Chargers lose, they'll get that division title. So so they have a whole bunch of ways they could lock in spots. The Chiefs are in Houston this week, facing the 1-11-1 Texans. As for the Chargers host the Tennessee Titans this week. And I have to mention the other teams. The Jets face the Detroit Lions. The Patriots are in Vegas to face the Raiders. So I mentioned Miami. Like I said, Buffalo can actually put a dent in a couple of the Kansas City scenarios. But again, if the Chiefs win, then they win the division. It means they'll have a home game in the playoffs. Okay. Now, on to the NFC. With 1 spot clinched, 3 others can join Philadelphia. Minnesota. It's strange what's going on with the Vikings. This is the 3rd week in a row that they have a chance to clinch the division. Now, the first time wasn't their fault. I mean, they won their game, but so did Detroit. However, last week, all they had to do was beat Detroit, but Detroit got the best of them. So they had to wait yet another week. This week, because of that, this week, again, they have the simple scenario: win it in or tie it in. Or, if Detroit loses or ties, that's it. They'll get the division. The Vikings kick off Saturday football hosting the lowly Indianapolis Colts. And like I said, the Colts could be eliminated. If they lose that game and Tennessee wins or ties, then the Colts are done. So and like I said, Detroit faces the Jets. So if Minnesota actually loses again, they have to wait another day and pull for the Jets. Crazy. Next up, the Niners. It's been a wild season. They started Trey Lance, and he got injured. They had to go back to Jimmy. They should have never benched Jimmy anyway. and he did his thing, but he got injured in the game against in the last game, not this past one, the one before that. That's where he got injured. But um, San Francisco's stayed alive so far. They got their latest win, and now they have a chance to clinch the NFC West. All they have to do to win the West is win. Why? Because they're playing Seattle. Yeah, they are playing the Seattle Seahawks, and that is Thursday night football to kick off the week. So yeah, so all they have to do is beat the Seahawks, and they have to beat them. Tying means they have to wait another week, but all they have to do is beat the Seahawks, and they get the NFC West. Simple. Finally, the Cowboys. That's right. The Cowboys sit at 10-3. They're 2 games behind the Eagles in the NFC East, but they sit at the number 5 seed, which is number 1 wild card, which is a prime position because whoever gets number 5 is most likely whoever gets the number 5 seed most likely is going to play whoever wins that decrepit NFC South. So they're in a prime position, which means the Giants and Washington really need to work. So anyway, Dallas has 6 ways they can get into playoffs, but number 1 is simple. As the late great Al Davis said, just win, baby. All Dallas has to do is win. The Cowboys face the Jaguars this week. And so win and in. Simple. It's great to control your own destiny. Like I said, there are 5 other ways they can get in. 3 of them involve tying. If they tie, a tie and either a Giants loss, a Washington loss, or Seattle loss or tie, that'll get them in. The final 2 don't even involve them. The final 2 are regardless of what they do, even if they somehow lose. If Seattle loses and either Washington loses or Detroit loses and ties, Dallas is in. The funny thing about that, now it says Washington loss or Giants loss, coupled with a Dallas tie, gets Dallas in. Here's the thing: Giants and Washington play each other this week. Yeah. The Giants and Washington actually play each other this week, which means if Dallas actually does tie, then all that has to happen. See, it's similar to that. It's similar to Pittsburgh's scenario for the final week of last year. If Dallas somehow actually plays to a tie, all they have to do is hope somebody wins that Sunday night football game between the Giants and the Commanders. Because if they tie again, then Dallas will have to wait another week. It's just so funny. However, Dallas's clinching road could start on Thursday because Seattle's involved. So if the Niners actually do beat the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football, then they don't have to depend on the Giants-Washington game because a win or a tie would get them a playoff spot. So there you go. So those are the scenarios for Week 15. It should be very interesting. There's going to be a lot of interesting scoreboard watching throughout this week. There's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching. Like I said, 5 teams can clinch, and I think 7 teams can be eliminated. The Colts, the Steelers, the Raiders, and the Browns can all be eliminated. The Rams, the Cardinals, and the Saints can all be eliminated too. And out of all 7 of them, the Raiders and Arizona have the lose it out scenario. We can't be eliminated this week, which is, I guess, is a good thing. But anyway, so those are scenarios. If you like this video, click the like button. Click subscribe if you want more of my story about the playoff picture. Will be in the description below. Check it out when you can. I'll be back next week. I'll be back to this next Tuesday to recap Week 15 and get you ready for Week 16, which is the Christmas week. So stay tuned.